Hello and welcome to the Pig and Whistle Tales from Azeroth. As always here at the Pig and Whistle Inn in Stormwind, I go through a variety of subjects with regards to World of Warcraft. I grab a bottle or a pint, sit back and enjoy. This week's episode we're going to be going over, well, I'm not really too sure how to name it, so to speak. What I've got down here is classes that I don't play but want to. Now, in terms of elaborating on that, essentially it's classes that I find the fantasy element of really fun and enjoyable, but it seems like a lot of energy to put in the effort in learning them, like a lot, purely on the basis of certain things. Maybe it's managing a pet, for example, is one that I will be acknowledging, or maybe it's the fact that it needs to manage combo points like a feral or a rogue, that kind of thing. But we will obviously start off with the weekly news, as always. The bonus event for this week is World Quest and Warlords of Draenor Time Walking bonus event. Warsong Scramble is your brawl for this week. This one is very simple, very quick, very easy. You can essentially just speed run it. If you are a warrior with 3 heroic leaps, that kind of thing, you can just leap across the entire battlefield and not care about anything at all. Strudran is the world boss for this week. He is located in the bottom right of Onaran Plains. Frightful, quaking, tyrannical and thundering are your mythic affixes for this week. Spiteful, when you kill a mob, a spiteful shade will appear from it. This will fixate on one player and essentially you just kite it and it will die off in its own time. Quaking, don't be near anyone, very simple, and don't be casting when the quaking expires as it will spell lock you. Tyrannical, the bosses and the mobs that they spawn are increased in both health and damage, so make sure you bring a talent build for them. And Thundering is your mythic seasonal affix, where you will get a positive or negative charge. You get a damage increase while you have this charge, but you must cleanse it before the time runs out, otherwise you will take a lot of damage. And we will be looking at the history of Volley. Volley is of course a hunter spell, and it has changed quite dramatically since its first iteration in Classic. So it had one patch since its release, or it's had one patch since up until Wrath of the Lich King, essentially. This patch came in 1.5, so back in 2005. It didn't change for about 4.5 years after this, and that was damage increased. That's it. That's all it says. Doesn't say by a certain amount, doesn't say anything at all, just damage increased. Okay, well, the damage of it in Classic was still very, very shocking, and you would not use this ability at all. It would be actually detrimental to you to use this ability. You would rather just use stuff like multi-shot and single target a mob down rather than do anything like this. It got 2 changes in Wrath of the Lich King. The damage has been reduced on all ranks by approximately 30%, including the attack power scaling, and this is when Volley actually became very decent. And the attack power coefficient was raised from 5.86% to 8.37%. It was an undocumented change, apparently. This just meant that your attack power scaled with your Volley. So the more attack power you had, the more damage your Volley did. It got removed in Cataclysm, fully removed, so taken out of the game. And then for about, Cataclysm, Mists of Pandaria, Warlords of Draenor, three expansions, it was not in the game until Legion, where it came back. So it was re-added as a level 90 Beast Mastery and Marksmanship talent, was a level 40 class ability. It has been redesigned though, so previous effect was continuously fires a volley of ammo at the target area, causing a certain amount of arcane damage to enemies within 8 yards every second for 6 seconds. But now, what it does is rain a volley of arrows down over 6 seconds, dealing a certain amount of physical damage to enemies in an area, and gain the effects of trick shots, for as long as volley is active. This is not a channeled ability. This is something that you place in an area and it will automatically do the damage over the duration that it said. It got a couple more changes in Legion. Volley now deals additional damage at 100% of attack power, was 75, and damage increased by 50% for BM Hunters only. Bit weird why BM Hunters were doing a bit less damage. It got a couple changes in Battle for Azeroth. Now a level 30 marksmanship talent. It has once again been redesigned. Previous effect was while active, your auto attack spend 3 focus to also launch a volley of shots that hit the target and all other enemies, dealing 100% of your attack power. Very simple. And then it now has a 25% chance to activate, was 10%, and deals 35% of attack power in damage, was 75%. Kind of makes sense because it is activating a bit more. In Shadowlands, it had a couple changes. Now requires level 50 instead of 30, and the damage was reduced by 30%, and now it is a simple, in Dragonflight, it is in row 7 of the marksmanship tree, rather than, the old PvP, or the old talents that we had previous to, not Shadowlands, Dragonflight, for God's sake. So, Volley is a weird spell. It was literally useless up until Wrath of the Lich King. You just wouldn't use it for anything. The damage was so low and so pathetic that it was basically, useless. You wouldn't even have it on your action bar. There's no point in training it, in all honesty. It was just null and void. But let's get on to the main chunk, or the main section of the podcast. Classes that I don't play. But want to. So I think everyone has these classes. Everyone sort of thinks to themselves, oh, okay, I'm going to level a paladin, or like a holy, if you're a healer, it's like, I'm going to level a holy paladin, or I'm going to level a priest, or I'm going to level a monk, or anything like that. So you're a resto druid. Actually, no, you're not. We'll take resto druid as an example. You're a discipline priest. All you do is put shields on people, radiance, this is a PvP standpoint, and deal damage for your atonement healing. So you decide that you want to do Resto Druid. You kind of start leveling a Resto Druid, but then you're thinking, oh, are they really just healing through heals over time, like rejuvenation, life blooms now, that kind of thing. And then you think, oh, this is kind of a annoying playstyle, and you feel like it's kind of overwhelming. Well, this is kind of what I feel like with these classes. They're too different from what my usual sort of cup of tea is, as it were. So BM Hunters and Demo Locks are the sort of normal ones, or I can throw these like together. Now, BM Hunters, I absolutely adore the aspect of a Beast Mastery Hunter. I love the whole fantasy element of, oh, I have 2 pets, all my pets are dealing damage. Like, I am literally just sending an armada of like beasts to go and like kill you and destroy you, essentially. I love that idea, but I cannot for the life of me deal with pet management. I cannot do pet management to save my life. Now, it's too intricate for me. It's like, oh, they're too squishy. Like, you have to constantly bring them back. You're not just worried about yourself, you're worried about your pets as well. And it's kind of like one of them things. Demo Lock is the same, as you have the Felguard with you. Now, you could say all Warlocks, but for me, I play Warlock in PvP. And what you do for Destro and Affliction Warlock, you sacrifice them. So you don't actually need the pet out. You can obviously take builds where you have the pet, but anything that gets rid of the pet for me is a net positive in my books. So Demo Warlock are in the same boat as Beast Mastery Hunter. I love that you're sending like a literal legion of demons at your target to kill them, but I just can't control my Felguard. I cannot. I hate the idea of controlling my Felguard. in PvP situations, mainly because the higher ranks you go, the better people get at CCing your pets, like rooting or like hard CC, polymorphing, or shackle undead if you're a hunter undead pet, or anything along them lines, fearing it, anything. So to have to worry about a fourth player essentially on your team, but the fourth player isn't sentient, you're the one controlling that fourth player, really does sort of get me, and I don't like it. I don't like the play style of having to micromanage a pet, which is a shame because, again, I love and absolutely adore the fantasy element of both of these classes, sending loads and loads of pets, demons at your target to just overwhelm them. If you look at Demo Lock, in an arena, if you don't hide the arena frames or like the nameplates, you will see a literal legion in that arena if you let a Demo Lock hardcast, because he just summons so many wild imps. He can throw up a nether portal to summon a pit lord. You know, he can do absolutely loads of things to annoy you, and so many of these, like, so many of his damage comes from his demons. So to have to deal with all of the demons, obviously most of the demons that you don't, or pretty much all of them apart from your Felguard, you don't control. It's just sort of, you know, there. But that's what annoys me, because you send your damage, you summon a tyrant, and it gets cycloned, or it gets bashed, or it gets kicked, or it gets line of sighted, and it just does nothing. He just runs after the target, starts casting, and they line of sight again. Runs after the target, starts casting, line of sights again. It's like some of them things are just so annoying to deal with, and it would annoy me that I have no control over that. Like, yeah, I can summon him at a good time, but ultimately I don't control when he's going to be able to do his damage, because the other players might be somewhat smart and wise to it, the idea, and either run away and just CC it or kite it, you know, anything. So BM Hunters and Demo Locks, even though I love the aspects of them, the fantasy elements of them, I cannot play them because it is a lot of pet management, and my brain just, I don't know, it doesn't click with me. It's not enjoyable, but I love watching people who play these specializations and classes. Mage and Rogue. Now, these two are kind of in the same group for me, because RMP is very much a comp that you see in PvP a lot of the time. But Mage, I used to main Mage. I mained Mage in Classic and TBC, and I mained Mage in Legion and Warlords of Draenor. Yeah, Warlords of Draenor and Legion is when I mained Mage. And I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. But after I switched to my Boomkin, I really... I look back and think, why didn't I main Boomkin like before Mage? Because I really enjoyed it. The Druid was my very first character, and it was a Feral Druid, which is a bit weird. I don't really understand how I got into playing Boomkin in the first place. That's actually that's something that I might need to remember. That could be an episode on itself. But essentially, the Druid was my very first character, and I've played Mage quite a bit. I have a substantial amount of hours. Obviously, some people who main Mage for years and years probably have more of a say on it. But I don't enjoy the intricacies of it. I don't enjoy the movement of it. I don't enjoy the flow of it. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't click with me. Which is weird, because in every other game, Diablo, even in like Hearthstone, I would pick a Mage. But I would pick a sorcerer in Diablo. I'd pick absolutely everything, like everywhere else. In like D&D, I would pick a sorcerer, which I have done. And it's one of them things, like, it's a spellcaster, which I absolutely love, but it just doesn't click. I play Affliction Warlock and Destro Warlock, and I enjoy their playstyle a lot more so than I do Mage. Any specialization of Mage, Frost Mage, Arcane Mage, or Fire. Fire I just don't click with at all. It doesn't spark my interest. Yeah, you see what I did there? I'm so sorry. Arcane, I love. I love the idea of Arcane. You know, all the purple missiles flying out, all of the. It really looks magical, Arcane. And that would be one that I'm willing to try. Sorry if you can hear the squeaky chair. That would be one that I'm willing to try. And Frost, I have tried a bit, but it just doesn't hook me. And I don't get it. I do not understand it because in every single game, a sorcerer is what I would tend to gravitate towards. And it's just weird in my opinion. Rogue, on the other hand, I know exactly why I don't enjoy it. I'm not on any Adderall or like anything like that. You have to be crazy to be a rogue player in PvP, like a very good rogue player in PvP. And it's too many intricacies. Way too many intricacies with managing your combo point. I would be way too worried about looking at my combo points. I would be staring at them every single game thinking, Jesus, I need 5 combo points. Okay, this gives 3, and trying to do the maths behind when you get a combo point because you crit or anything like that is so annoying to me. I'll compare it with Feral Druid. I'll compare it with Feral Druid in Wrath of the Lich King. 5 combo points is maximum. And whenever you hit something, you can get a maximum of 2 combo points if you crit. If you don't crit, you get 1 combo point. It's very, very simple. Whereas with rogues, you have the option to go up to 6 combo points, even 8, I believe, something like that. It's something stupid. With a certain ability, you can get like the damage of 8 combo points worth, you know, all that sort of stuff. But it's trying to manage your combo points and when to press kidney and when to do damage, and like you're trying to look for CC, and you just feel squishy as hell as well. Any class that is quite squishy, I'm not too keen on playing. I play Warlock and Boomkin. Again, Boomkin is quite squishy, but it's quite durable against melee as well, just because of the armor value in itself. But Warlocks, you can Kai, you have obviously Dark Pact, Unending Resolve, Hellstone, your own passive healing, that kind of thing. With Boomy, you have a couple heals, Bear Form, the ability to kite, certainly, stuff like that. But Rogue would just fall over, and I've tried playing Rogue, but once again, it just doesn't grip me in, which is really weird because the idea of, you know, lockpicking stuff or putting poisons on your weapon, stabbing people in the back, you know, really is quite a fun thought more than anything, because it's like, oh yeah, I'm sneaking around. You don't even know that I'm here, but I am here. I kind of hold that sway over you. Like if you're in Stranglethorn Vale, for example, you see a level 35 rogue go invisible, undead rogue. You're level 34 warrior, or you're a level 34 mage. You see him go invisible and you're like, okay, I've noticed you go invisible, but now I have no idea where you are. So you're either stalking me and looking for a good time to kill me, or you don't want to get killed yourself and you're just trying to pass through and you're long gone. But you don't know that, only they know that. And that gives them a lot of like power, essentially. That's like psychology, psychosis, like oh my god, what is it? Psychological? Yeah, it's kind of like psychological warfare, I guess. In World of Warcraft, it's like I know that I'm going to kill you, but you don't know that that I've been waiting about an hour and a half to find the perfect time to gank you. You don't know that, but I do. Waiting an hour and a half, by the way, is kind of ridiculous. They would usually kill you when you start killing your first mob, but you know, it is what it is. Also level 60 rogues in Stranglethorn Vale, obviously they're very dickish, but they know that they're going to kill you and you can't really do anything about it. You're just dead on the floor like the next second, essentially, while you're trying to sell stuff, and it's like, oh well, okay then, I guess this is what it is. But yeah, that's kind of like why I like the rogue class, because it is very sneaky. You hold a lot of the power and the sway and the say in fights, actually. You get to kind of dictate the pace of the game sometimes. Certainly at lower rating in arenas, because like, okay, I've kidney shot, we're going now, or I blind kidney shot, or I blind this target and we go on this guy now, or I just vanish and wait because they're trying to kill me, but I'm just going to wait for all of my cooldowns. They'll have to pump some damage into you to get pressure out, that kind of thing. So yeah, Rogue, I just can't deal with the combo points, essentially. It's too much maths in my brain. And the other one I wanted to discuss was healers. So I have one healer, and that is a Mistweaver Monk. No matter how good or how bad Mistweaver Monk is, it will always be the healer that I enjoy the most. Now, the reason for this being is I played it back in Battle for Azeroth, and it was the very first healer that I actually enjoyed playing, and played in endgame content such as PvP. Mainly rated battlegrounds, and this is when Mistweavers could move while soothing misting. So they could channel soothing mist and move while channeling this, which is insane, by the way, which was really, really good. And I just liked the mobility that they had. I liked that they had the TP. I liked that they had the fortifications through Fortifying Brew, Dampen Harm, Dampen or Diffuse Magic. I like the rolls that they have to give them more speed. Tiger's Lust to give them more speed. I love the mobility of classes. That's what draws me to a class. And then when I try and go on a shaman or something and try and heal, it's very slow paced. You're putting down totems. You're waddling along. You're getting slowed. This is why I play Druid, by the way, because any slows or roots would really annoy me in any PvP. So that's kind of why I enjoy it a lot more so than any other class. But yeah, basically any other healer felt very slow paced to me. And which is a shame because I absolutely adore Disc Priest. I love playing Disc Priest. Or I love the idea of it, but I just can't get into it over my monk because I'll always think, oh, I could have rolled here and repositioned, or I can reposition in a moment's notice and utilize my CC through Incap, Sweep, and Song of Chi-Ji and stuff. But with Disc Priest, I'm just waddling across the map. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm really slow and I feel this. Or with Resto Shaman, it's like, okay, I can Ghost Wolf, but that's all I can do. Or with a Holy Priest, again, it's the same mobility, very slow. All of it just seems very lackluster and not as quick. You make a quick decision, it's like, okay, I'm relocating now. Boom, one global cooldown and I'm there. Instead, it's, okay, I'm relocating. Dun, 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 dun. This priest just bobbling along, and then you finally get there a few seconds after, and it's like, yeah, that was great. And it's like, oh, but my mate's already dead because I got Sigseed 10 times along the way, that kind of thing. That's why I just can't get into any other healers, which is a shame because Druid healing, I just love Druids anyway. I love the aspect of Druids, the fantasy of Druids. Priests, I absolutely love. You spam shields, you do damage to heal, you get pain suppression, you got everything. Evokers, probably not one that I've tried or will try very soon. Resto Shamans, I love the totem aspect. I love how all of your healing comes through totems and earth shields and riptides and stuff like that. You're not just sitting there spam casting a flash of light or anything like that. So it's really weird because these classes, I absolutely adore them in their own way, but I just cannot get into them playing wise because of how they play and what I play in regard to it. So the DPS that I play are obviously they can't be held down quite easily. Now BM Hunters can't be locked down quite easily, but not as much as Druids or a Warlock that can gate up and down, stuff like that. And the healers, once again, it's just very fast paced as a monk. And it's quite simple when you break it down because it's, if you juke a kick, you keep healing. If you get kicked, you're fucked and everyone's dead. That's kind of it. But it's one of them things. Everyone has these classes that they like and they always see and they think, oh yeah, I would really enjoy that. But at the same time, it's so much effort to actually try and get into them, that kind of thing. But hey, it is what it is, and I guess I'll try these classes eventually in terms of really try and put some effort into them and get to learn them a bit. But that is it for this episode. Thank you all very much for listening, as always. Do check out the Patreon as well as Twitch and YouTube. Constant stuff happening over there. Thank you very much for listening, and go with valor, friend. Goodbye all.